Have you ever wanted to jump on the X99 platform but thought, hell, I haven't got the money? Well, check it out. Gigabyte has a solution that may just work for you. The Gigabyte X99-UD3P comes into the market at $199 and has a ton of features. And as you guys can see, this motherboard is a beauty. And the motherboard itself, even the basic motherboard itself, is really cool. It's completely black and gold design, so it's going to fit in any system that you're designing, because it's going to be the basis for any of a custom mod system, because, you know, black is a color that's very neutral and you can build anything around it. It's going to look cool. The motherboard itself has a 2x copper design, so it has 2 times the copper in it that a standard motherboard has, and that's going to help the motherboard run a lot more efficient, a lot cool, and have a lot less EMI all around. Another thing that's going to help a little bit of EMI on this motherboard, and by the way, if you don't know what EMI, it's electromagnetic interference. Every single one of the place where you put your screws in has plenty of room around it, so that there's nothing going to be touching and having any problems of having any kind of connection, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen very many motherboards that have that on it. Now, the audio on this thing is actually really crazy as well. It's another just crazy feature. We'll get into all the basic features too. We'll talk about those, but let's just talk about some of the really cool stuff. The audio on here is 7.1 audio, and it actually has a line that runs all the way along the side of it. You guys can see this right here. There's a line that runs all the way up the side of here and segregates all of the audio. Now, this is the ALC 1150 chipset from Realtek, and it features 7.1 digital audio, and it also has the Nichicon capacitors. So you know this thing's going to sound good. And this little bar here, it's not only a cool looking thing, it actually glows at night, and you can have it bouncing and beating to your music. You can have it just static one color. You can have it so it just beats independently. You can have it so it's not on at all. But that's just a really cool feature. I mean, how many motherboards have like a little bouncing cool item when they're inside your case? You know what I mean? So you've got your mod going, your case going, building, you got your thing thumping, boom, 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 and this thing's blinking right along with it. Plus, it's actually a really good high-quality audio solution for those looking for, you know, great audio on board. Lots of people game, and for years they just threw out your regular old chipsets that had a tinny sound. People have now taken audio serious, and you can see Gigabyte's taking this shit really serious, because this is a really fine audio chipset. It's going to sound good. Again, like I said before, low noise interference. It's going to sound good, have lots of noise interference. Whoops, not going to have any noise, rather. Excuse me, they're a little... It's kind of hard to memorize all this stuff and then bring it to you guys in the camera, because there's just so much on here. So, like 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, supports XMP profiles up to 3,333 megahertz, really extremely fast stuff. The Intel, this is the ZIF Socket 2011, supports all of the latest Intel Extreme i7 CPUs, so you're going to be able to use all the top-of-the-line CPUs. And one of the main reasons about jumping onto the X99 platform is for using multi-graphics cards, because there are basically 40 lanes that are total availability. On this particular board, you get, I think, 320 gigabytes of total bandwidth through the PCI lane, so that's a lot of bandwidth. Now, there are 2 of these that run at 16x, that's 1 and 2. Then we have 3 and 4, these run at 8x, unless you use a 5820 CPU. If you use a 5820 CPU, you only get, I believe, 4x on 3 and 8x on 2. I don't know why exactly it's that way. Probably has something to do with the technology. Now, all around the ZIF socket, you guys can see, to me, this is a pretty Spartan motherboard. Yeah, I really think that it is. Some people may disagree. Let me hear what you guys have to say, but I think it's pretty Spartan. You've got plenty of room all around it for an aftermarket cooler, water cooling, and all that stuff. Now, one of the big features about all of Gigabyte's X99 motherboards are their new all-digital power design, which features fully digital power phases and fully digital PWMs. So that means all of your power stages and all of your PWMs are all completely controlled by this new thing from International Rectifier. It's pretty cool, and it'll actually keep the board running very smooth, and it'll also be good for overclocking, because all of the electricity coming in the board will be very regulated, and it'll be even. So even electricity means better overclocking and just better stability all the way on the board. Now, as far as the fan headers go on this motherboard, I believe there are a total of 5. There's one up here on the top, another down below the ZIF socket, another over here by the 24-pin power connector. Then I see another one over here by the back bracket where you're going to be able to connect the Wi-Fi, and then another one down here at the bottom of the board. Now I'm going to flip it around And right here, we can see all the SATA connectors. Now this thing features not only SATA 6, it also features SATA Express. That's right, SATA Express is like the fastest thing on the planet now, and this board has it on it. Now how many devices out there we're going to see using it, that'll be a different story altogether. I may have mentioned this earlier, but as far as power connectivity goes, there are two places on the board. There's an 8-pin 12 volt right here, and then your 24 pin right here. Next to that, you can see the USB 3.0 header. This is for people using an external 3.0 bracket. I probably won't use that, but some people will. And as we traverse back over here, we can see there are 1, 2, 3 PCI 1X slots as well. And then down there between it and the bottom PCI slot, you can see there's a little thing for connecting external audio. I'm going to go to the very bottom of the board here. The very bottom of the board, you can see all the places to connect to your case and everything. This is all labeled clearly. Then over here, we see the CPU switch. Now, this has two different modes, standard mode and mode for overclocking. So you put an overclocking mode, you're up and into your overclocking. This motherboard also features dual M2 technology, which provides users PCI Express connectivity for SSD devices and for 11 AC Wi-Fi plus Bluetooth 4.0 cards. And data transfer speeds can be up to 10 gigabits per second. The M2 connectivity is also much faster storage than either mSATA or standard SATA connectivity. Real quick, folks, something I may have failed to mention. Now, crosstalk and electronic harmonic interference and all that stuff is something that affects most audio on motherboards. Now, these guys have done something totally different. The right channel is on one layer of the PCB and the left is on another. So this is going to help maintain the absolute best audio clarity that you can get. Another great feature on this motherboard are the chokes in this motherboard are actually server grade. That's right, they're server grade, and all of the capacitors are black and feature a 10K lifespan, which means 10,000 hours. I don't know if some of this stuff I'm going over again, folks. I really tried to memorize as much stuff on the motherboard as possible. I hate like reading off a script or doing that kind of stuff. I try to just memorize it all and bring it to you folks. And sometimes that can be kind of a, a headache. But hopefully I'm getting it all because I really wanted to bring you guys the best about this motherboard. So I think we've covered most of the features. For overclocking, these guys have all of their own overclocking software and all that stuff. It's very easy to use. In fact, I think for most basic users, if you're just using a fan or just some standard liquid cooling, using their instant overclocking solution is probably going to be much better than tinkering with yourself, and you're probably not going to be able to get that much greater results by totally going out and tweaking it. Maybe a little bit, but not much. These guys have worked with overclockers around the world for years to help develop this software, and it's actually come quite a long ways. Let's bounce around now real quick. Let's go to the back. The motherboard also features Gigabyte LAN with CFOS. The I/O, it's pretty decked out. You guys can see it's got some old school legacy PS2 keyboard and mouse ports. You've got standard USB 2.0. You've got USB 3.0, a lot of them. You've got all of your analog audio and your SPDIF. And this right here is actually for your Wi-Fi antenna. So if you're going up the Wi-Fi antenna, this is just the port to help you, get through there. So that's pretty much it, folks. Like I said, this board comes to market at $199. Has a lot of features, and for the X99 platform, that's actually really good. Some of these boards are up to $500 and $600. So if you've been thinking about jumping onto this platform, now might be the chance. One thing I want to say though, if you're just using a single graphics card, this is not really going to be the board you're looking for. You can use it, but there's no reason. It would basically be like buying a Maserati to drive around a parking lot. You don't really need to do that. You can get the best solution out of that just by using a lower end platform, like I said, an i7-4770K. But with this motherboard for $199, I gotta say, is an editor's choice product. It looks good, has a lot of features, is going to do good overclocking. You can use 4 cards in SLI or crossfire mode. So for people wanting to do that, it's awesome. And look, it just looks very good. Like usual, all the information for this motherboard will be down below that like button. Hopefully you guys will like this video. I haven't actually done a motherboard video in a long time. I was a little bit nervous, so I hope we all learned something together. So I'm Elric. Thanks for watching Tech Tomorrow, and let's build a system.